Hi, my name is Gar Ragland. I'm a music producer and I'm the founder and CEO of Citizen Vinyl here in Asheville, North Carolina. So Citizen Vinyl is located in the historic Citizen Times building in downtown Asheville. We call this building our silent partner, and it has really informed what it is that we're doing ever since we had the opportunity to activate this concept. The building was built in 1939. It is a very fine example of early Art Moderne architecture. It was built originally to accommodate our city's two newspapers, The Citizen and The Times. And original to the building, the papers were printed here on site in the basement. So it has a long history of manufacturing. And the owner of the newspapers, Charles Webb, had also recently purchased WWNC radio station. And when he built this building for the newspaper, he also built here on the third floor what at the time was one of the most state-of-the-art radio station studios in the country. When we first looked at the building, the studio was days away from becoming demolished and about to be turned into generic office space. So I pleaded with the landlord to put the sledgehammers down and to give us an opportunity to incorporate this into the whole Citizen Vinyl collective. This was originally the live room, and it was in this very room that Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys in late 1939 had a residency here playing during the Mountain Music Hour. So the opportunity that we had in taking over this space was just too good to be true. The backbone of what we're doing here is vinyl pressing. And we had an opportunity with the location and the size of the building and the beautiful architecture to develop as part of our program a craft cocktail bar. It's a vinyl themed cocktail bar, and we have a farm to table cafe called Session, and we have a record store and a art store called Coda Analog Art and Sound. So it features a combination of new and used vinyl, as well as a lot of very cool local screen printed art. And then here on the third floor in the old WWNC radio station studio, we have Citizen Studios, which is a mixing and recording operation. The 5088 is elemental. It does what it does extremely well, better than anything else out there. And the simplicity affords me the freedom to focus on other aspects of the projects that I'm working on, with the confidence knowing that everything's going to sound great and I don't have to babysit the console to get good sounds. I can set something up, I can plug in a mic and focus on the material that I'm working on and come back to the mix or come back to review what we've been doing. And it always sounds great. It really focuses on the principles and the fundamentals of audio recording in the best way possible. And that's how I work. That's how I think. And there's really no other alternative for me. When we first got the console, because I already owned quite a bit of nice analog preamps and EQs, we got it with just two 5052 Shelford modules. We were able to get our hands on one and put it to use in advance of having the budget to actually fully load it and operate it at full capacity. So since we purchased it, we've added 4 more modules now. So the plan is to, over time, as our needs grow, to continue to add additional modules to the unit. And I really love that about it. You don't have to hold off on working with a 5088 until you have the budget to purchase a fully loaded one. I was first introduced to the 5088 in Wimberley, Texas. I was at a South by Southwest and had gone to Blue Rock Artist Ranch and Studio. Listening to it in the control room, I was very impressed. So I've always been drawn to analog. I decided years ago that I really didn't have the appetite for getting into the rabbit hole of plugins and working in a digital environment, and I love the tactile nature of working in analog. Before even moving over here, I had a lot of familiarity working with the 8068 console at Echo Mountain, and really fell in love and became very accustomed to that sound. And that really became not only the gold standard, but the norm for the way that I wanted to work and the sound that I expected from my projects. So before we even finalized our location here, it had always been my dream to have, wherever we end up locating the vinyl pressing business, to have an on-site recording facility where I could continue to do my work as an independent record producer. Little did I know that the stars would align here at Citizen Vinyl, and that the history of this building with the manufacturing of the newspapers and the radio station here in the studio, that this was really just serendipity. There was a lot of Asheville magic that came into this. So I look at this studio space as we're celebrating the history of this building, and I feel like Rupert Neve Designs is where old meets new. It is a nod to honoring the rich analog legacy of Rupert Neve's long career in pro audio. But as a new piece of equipment here, it really inspires our celebration of history and how it can inform all of the future creative works that we're going to be doing here at Citizen Vinyl. So it really encapsulates the whole ethos of this project, and we're really honored to have 5088 and the team at Rupert Neve Designs play the very important role that they play for the Citizen Vinyl project.